Hello everybody, it's Emma and welcome to Vlogmas Day 12. It's the last one. Can you believe it? I can. So in my last video, I talked a lot about reflecting on 2024, going over some of the things that I was proud of from the year, and I briefly talked about some things I wanted to carry over into 2025, but in this video I'm going to be going over it a little bit more, specifically kind of my mindset going into the year and what resolutions or goals I've set for myself. Just like in the last video, this is going to be kind of informal. I'm just going to be talking. I have a couple of topics written down on my computer that I want to use to guide the video, but overall I'm just kind of looking forward. Again, like in last video, I hope this provides you an opportunity to do this for yourself as well if you've been meaning to. I know it's something that I tend to put off, but without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so this video is going to be mostly geared toward my goals for the new year, but I did want to briefly talk about my approach to goals, which I touched on a little bit in the last video, but generally I try to keep them very loose because if I make too lofty or too specific of a goal and I don't achieve it, I tend to take it really hard. I've learned that from previous years. So when I set goals, I set very few of them, and I set a few that I know are going to be very difficult for me to achieve, and then I try to set a few attainable reasonably, but will take more work to get to. You know, they're very loose. If they don't get done, that's fine, but I try to make sure that I can get most of them done in a satisfactory way that's both achievable, but also stretching my abilities and challenging myself. So this year, I'm actually using a Notion tracking template that I got just from the Notion marketplace for free to track my goals and track my progress because I've never done that before, and I heard a lot of people talk about like quarterly updates and check-ins as far as goals go. So I wanted to try it going into the new year, but I don't really know how long it's gonna stick, so don't like hold me to that. So it has like your goals for the year and then also what your goals are for each individual month and each individual quarter. So I don't have monthly or quarterly goals set yet, but I do have some that I'm considering for the new year. And all of my goals aren't always explicitly written out like this. A good example is like the Goodreads reading challenge. That is a goal of mine to read a certain number of books, but I don't necessarily write it down because that's just something that I want to work towards. I know in my last video I was talking about things that I want to continue to improve on, such as my health, putting myself out there, making friends. Those are things that I'm just gonna keep in the back of my mind and keep working on, not necessarily make a tangible goal. So I hope that makes sense, but that's kind of where my mind is at when writing these down. So I know I've talked about a few of these throughout Vlogmas, so I'll just skim over those, but first I wrote start a book journal. Like I said in, I think it was my self-care video, I just wanted to try it for fun. I saw a lot of people talking about it, and I want to make reading more of a fulfilling hobby rather than just like reading a book, putting it back on the shelf, reading another book. You know, I want to like really remember my books and have fun with them. I thought that would be a really fun creative outlet and a way to kind of smash some hobbies together. So I kind of have already started it, but I'm gonna make it a goal to like use it. And then once I've gotten kind of in the swing of it is when I'll mark this goal as completed. And again, it's loose, like if I stop using it halfway through the year, that's fine, but I wanted to try it at least. Another one that I've mentioned is read all of my book club books, equaling to 12, which would be my minimum for my Goodreads reading challenge that I set for myself. This is just something I want to try and do. My favorite book clubs are when I can really examine a book with my friends as a whole. You know, all of us are very flexible, so, you know, if we don't get it finished, that's fine. But I just want to see if I could try and do it because this year I really struggled with reading the book club books, so that's on there. Here's an intentional one that I carried over from last year is making time for my hobbies, videos, coloring, watching movies, reading, listening to music, baking, cooking. I want to learn how to make coffee drinks. For Christmas, my parents got me a really nice, I don't know what it's called. You put it on the stove and it makes espresso. So sorry, that's probably has a nicer name, but I'm really excited to try that out and like learn how to make different coffee drinks. All of these things that I want to keep intentionally making time for instead of just doing them when I have time. I want to make the time. So that is kind of one of those like in the back of my mind grouped things that I'm bringing forward because I really want to keep doing that. And then I have more that I set, but they're kind of personal, so I'm gonna keep them to myself, but that's kind of where I'm at. I probably won't add any more. That's probably where I'll leave it, but I do tend to make more goals as the year goes on, and I go through the ones that I set. I really like setting goals for the upcoming length of time, like summer break or winter break or spring break or the new term or something like that, which is another reason why I wanted to try the monthly and quarterly template that this has. But that's kind of where I'm sitting right now as far as New Year's resolutions go. Also on this page, I linked my 2025 vision board that I made on Pinterest. Maybe I'll put some pictures from it up on the screen that kind of align with what I was talking about. Like I touched on in my last video, this year I'm trying to make it very intentional what I put on here. I don't want it to get too overwhelmed with different things because while these are my goals, there truly is like so many possibilities for things that could happen in the new year, and I want to stay open to those, but I want to also really focus on the few things that I've written down intentionally and use those few goals as the focus for this board, and then just acknowledge mentally that like things will change, new things will come. There's so many things I'm sure that I'm not even aware of that will happen in the new year. So I just want to focus on what I know right now. But you can always go to my Pinterest, which again I believe is linked on my channel, and find it. It's just 2025. I also have some quotes that I wanted to remember as far as like mindset goes. I want to continue adding to this and my vision board as the year goes on. But two from the quotes section that stand out to me are, what's meant for you will always find its way back to you. Don't take criticism from people you wouldn't take advice from. I did not come up with those, but I saw them or I've heard them and I added them here because they were things I wanted to remember. So hopefully I'll remember to look back at this throughout the year and just keep chipping away at these goals. Next, I wanted to briefly go over some things that I'm looking forward to in the new year. Like I was saying, there's a lot that could happen, both things that I'm aware of and things that I'm not. So this is probably going to be very brief, but there are some things just in January that I'm really excited about. First of all, it's going to be a new term at school. I'm going to be taking different classes and meeting so many new people. That's another thing I forgot to mention in the last video that I was like really happy about from the last year, is how many different people I got to meet and connect with. I'm really looking forward to that in the new year. I got my first like real job at my school. I'm going to be working as a videographer and photographer. So, you know, if I go absent on here for a little while, just know it's because I'm doing this stuff for another group. So just be aware of that. But I'm really excited about that. We have a bunch of birthdays that are coming up in the beginning of the year. In the end of the year, I'm going to be turning 20, which is crazy to think about, but also kind of fun. I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking at applying to study abroad next year. Not necessarily 2025, but like the next academic year. I don't know how that's going to work out, but that's really exciting to think about right now. It could be in another part of the country or another country altogether. Might not work out, might, I have no idea. But that's really exciting to think about. I'm going to be wrapping up my first full year at college, and I'm actually going to be wrapping up my last term in May. So I'm going to be getting off a lot earlier than I'm used to, which is really fun to think about. It was kind of weird starting in September this year because on my last school it was a quarter schedule, and so we didn't start until the end of September. But we also didn't get out until mid-June. So now I start early September and get out end of May. So it kind of shifts a little bit. I'm looking forward to seeing how I feel about that schedule. We've got a whole new summer. I love summer. I'm so excited to just like go outside and go to the beach. I love winter, but sometimes it gets a little depressing. We're gonna have another salt, air, and rust on your door month. If you know, you know. Yeah, honestly, that's kind of all I can think of right now. I think the biggest thing I'm looking forward to, honestly, is just all the things that I don't know are gonna happen yet. I think I'm just gonna leave it at that. There are some things that I'm also very nervous about, which kind of overlap with some of the things I'm looking forward to. You know, as excited as I am for new experiences, I also get very nervous because they're new and I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing or what to expect, such as potentially studying abroad, starting a new job, meeting new people, trying to make friends. Like, how exactly does someone make friends? But honestly, I'm just gonna try to approach those things like a lot of things I did this year, which was you just have to go for it. I think it was easier this past year, especially during senior year of high school, because it was the last time I was seeing a lot of people, so it's like whatever. But this time I have to like stick with people for a while, so if I embarrass myself, it's gonna sting every time. But I'm gonna try to not focus on that and just focus on doing it and doing my best and being myself. Even if I'm not always successful, that's gonna be how I try to approach everything in the new year. I mean, if you have any tips, let me know, but that's kind of the only thing I got right now. Some other things that I want to do in the new year include doing another good things jar. I want to keep creating healthy habits. One that I'm working on right now is not going on social media right when I wake up. I know that people say that all the time, but I've been doing it for the past couple days and I actually have been sleeping better. Crazy thought, I know. It's almost like that's what was supposed to happen, but it's working, so I'm not gonna complain. I want to keep exercising, I want to keep making videos, I want to keep focusing on things that make me happy, but also trying things that I don't know if they're gonna make me happy. Being open to new things. I want to keep reconnecting with old friends and making new ones. I want to keep meeting new people. I want to keep listening to new music. I don't know, there's just so many things that I am looking forward to improving upon, but also so many things that I feel like I just need to appreciate for what I've done and want to keep going with them, if that makes any sense. Yeah, I know that this stuff is kind of general, but it's because I don't really do a lot to prepare for the new year except do something like this, which is think about what I've done and how I want to pivot that into what I'm about to do. So other than that, really all I do to prepare for the new year is clean. I usually do the day of New Year's Eve, so not New Year's Day, but the day before. So like it's completely fresh when I wake up on the new year. So I don't know if I'm going to get to include in this video, but either way, that's kind of the only thing I have left to do. I'm definitely not ready for the new year. I mean, I feel like every year we move past 2020 is hard to comprehend because that was such a turning point in the world and in my life and in so many people's lives. But I am also very ready for New Year, a relatively clean slate. You know, I don't want to put too much pressure on it because, you know, all of these videos are coming out like rebrand for 2025, how to become the best you in 2025. And even though I'm not putting that pressure on myself, it's sometimes feels like there is a lot of pressure, but that's really not what I'm going for. And while that can be really great, it's not my goal. These are my goals. What I've said in this whole video are my goals, and I think you know that. So I'm just looking forward to continuing to be myself and grow. And my word for the year is explore. We'll see if that happens. I don't think I really picked one last year, but that's kind of what I'm going for this year. I hope it came through, but I don't know. We'll see. Other than that, I don't really have anything more to say. So I know that this video and the other one were kind of just me talking at you, but I hope that it was somewhat enjoyable to take a moment with me to reflect and look forward and think about some things that I've done and some things that I hope to do. And I also hope that you are able to take the time to do as well if you can and want to. No pressure. Like I was saying, sometimes it can feel like you have to, but you don't. That's kind of where I'm at, and I hope that it was fun, because it was for me, as weird as it feels, because how is it 2025? Per usual, I'm going to cut myself off there because I could talk forever. Thank you so much for watching this video and for watching all throughout Vlogmas. This Vlogmas was a lot more challenging than last year in different ways, and so I'm really grateful for everyone who's been watching, the people who have been watching me for a while, and the new viewers. I really appreciate you guys. I hope to be making more videos in the new year. If you have any feedback or video ideas, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and while you're there, please consider answering the question of the day, which today is going to be, if you have a New Year's resolution or a goal or something that you're hoping to accomplish or anything you want to comment about 2025, go ahead and leave it below. What are you thinking about the new year? How are you feeling? I'd love to hear it because you just heard all of mine, so I don't need to repeat it for you. But let us know and we can talk about it. If you like this video and want to see more, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you again so much for watching this video and all of Vlogmas, and I will see you in the next video next year. Bye.